I feel myself like very lucky because like I get to work like 5 days from home. But like most of the software developers now are working hybrid,
Yeah,
and they get to spend time with the kid, right?
True.
Spend time with their family.
from the developer perspective, what do you think about the AI and about especially replacing the development role in the future?
AI might replace a role, but it will create another role. I don't think AI will fully replace all the roles because
What would you do differently if you go back and if you had to start your IT career again?
first thing I would get right.
Nice. Hey coders, welcome to the another episode of the Diary of a Developer. Today I have a guest who have been working as a front-end developer almost 10 years, and now he is currently working in Bupa, which is one of the biggest company in Australia, as a front-end developer. And I'd like to share his journey and share his experience, how he built a career in tech industry, so that you guys can take some message from him, his some inspiration and his struggle, so that you can succeed in your career faster. I'd like to welcome Abinash Shrestha today. Welcome, Abinash.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for the introduction, by the way.
No problem.
I work in Bupa. It's been almost like 5 years now.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, my primary focus is on front-end development, and basically I look over a couple of projects in Bupa. And yeah, like you mentioned, I came here in 2017.
Okay.
And yeah, so far I did my masters, did some internship, and yeah, basically started working after I finished my masters in Bupa.
So how's the work going?
Yeah, it's pretty good. We are doing a couple of interesting things at the moment.
Yeah, we talk about this off the screen before, guys. I really enjoy the conversation. We might insert some of the information later. So, I want to start with why you choose software industry.
I was always into technology, like from my childhood, and I wasn't into software industry. I was more into designing industry at first.
Yeah.
But we have like this sort of design related classes back in my country.
Okay.
One day I was walking down the stairs and I just saw this build a software ad, and then I was like intrigued, like,
Okay.
oh, we do this in our country as well. So
Oh,
I was
wow, cool.
intrigued. And then when I joined my bachelor's, I was thinking of doing BBA, by the way. And
Okay.
my there's a person there who recommended me to study IT, and then
Okay.
I joined IT course, and from there my journey began.
Oh,
And
okay.
basically, one interesting thing is that I did actually 2 internships,
Oh, wow, cool.
because first internship it was in a United Nations project. I was not interested in that. I didn't see any growth. And then I actually went for another internship with a proper IT company, and then from there I started doing front-end development, some designing, and a little bit of back-end as well.
Okay. So, how did you find the internship?
It is pretty good, actually. When you have that kind of people around you, it kind of motivates you. There's like fun a lot. Like you get to get like joke around, like coding jokes and all that stuff.
Coding meme, yeah.
And then you have like sort of deadlines to meet, and then like you started like getting involved in like all these kind of talks, meetups, and all that stuff, like the developer culture that goes on.
True.
So it was pretty good. Yeah.
Okay, so just wanna like go back to the childhood. So, what do you wanted to become when you grow? Like in childhood, we always have a dream. So, did you have anything other than the tech world, or?
So I actually wanted to do some animation stuff.
Oh, okay, from childhood?
Yeah, from some animation, Photoshop, Illustrator related stuff. I know that those tools.
Okay.
I actually did a couple of work here in Australia for like 2 years with packaging and all that related stuffs, designing and all that. And yeah, basically what happened is I realized that I am a colorblind. I find
Okay.
hard distinguishing red and green. And then I thought, okay, it's not for me.
Okay.
And then I switched to software, which was like pretty interesting already, basically I went from a designer and then did my masters and everything, and then switched to front-end development.
So basically, we can say that you realize that you would better move to software industry because you have already in the industry and you know the first front layer of the software development lifecycle designing, and now you basically build your career in the software industry.
Yeah.
That's really amazing journey because when I talk to a lot of other developer, they go to university and they do development training and they go to the back end most of the time from the universities, and they build back-end project using front-end technology, and then that's how they actually go and then build the career. So this is the question a lot of students I meet, they have like, how fast I can get a job when I start learning, right? And there's like really unrealistic expectation a lot of students have. Maybe this will help to clarify based on everybody's experience. So since you write your first line of code, how long did it take for you to get your first paid job as a developer? Do you still remember?
So it was back in internship I started doing it.
So what about the learning before internship?
Learning before internship.
So
So it was
before-
like 2 years, I would say.
Okay,
So
that's
2
yeah.
years I was doing a little bit of coding. I tested a couple of things. So I was like already into coding. It was not completely new for me, but in internship, after the internship, I was hired by them, and then from there I actually got paid.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, do you love the work you do?
Yes, I find it very interesting, especially the community.
Oh, okay.
It's so giving.
Mm-hmm.
They are inviting. There's like so many meetups happening. Like you can find like mentors online because everything is like digitalized, right?
True.
You can find resources in YouTube, GitHub. Many articles are there. Medium.com,
True.
dev.to.
True.
So yeah, I find like we are kind of lucky because we have all the necessary information in our fingers. So
Yeah.
it's just a search away, I would say.
Yeah, I just want to share my experience though. So it feels like lucky now because you have resources available now to learn. I remember how I learned coding back in days, early 2000. I came from like a mid-level kind of family lifestyle background, so I didn't have opportunity to access to the computer. So I had to write the code on, like, my first ID is pen and paper, So I used to write code in pen and paper and then go to the college lab and then type it out. So I still remember the code I have written. So the first kind of algorithm, we used to call that, a long time ago, I remember I was writing a phone book, where you need to search the user data using phone book in array. So I was using for loop in C++, and I was writing that in pen and paper. I still, probably it is somewhere in my home if I go and find out.
Yeah.
And then I believe that learning hard way will help you to retain the information longer.
Yeah.
And now information, as you said before, now all the information is available. But problem is there are too much information available, and I see a lot of people are getting lost in there.
Yes. So I would like to add one thing to that point. So there's like so many information available right now, and then you get lost. You start doing like all kinds of coding. Like you don't care about the languages. Do whatever comes at you. I would recommend to find a mentor first.
True, very
Right.
true.
Maybe not too senior. Maybe someone who has already been in that field who can guide you somehow.
True.
That's the first thing. And then don't experiment too much around at first. Just learn the foundations, right? And then the industry tools.
True.
Because what happens with the industry tools, I've noticed that they've got like communities, different GitHub repositories and various articles. From there, it's really good to know, like, after the foundational stuffs, like you start building your own tools, or maybe start utilizing your different kind of libraries, what's necessary, and then you start looking into like what's performant, what's not performant, because in software, it's obviously performance is one of the key elements.
True. And then I saw, like, as you said, learn fundamental. I can't stress enough how important it is for everybody to learn fundamental and foundation first, because fundamental foundation, they always stay there, doesn't change much. But if you just jump into the a framework library, one thing come today, after a year that might be out of the industry and then something else comes, right? And then if you just rely on learning the frameworks, and if you don't have a foundation, you have to keep chasing that. It's going to be hard to switch your skill, right? If you don't have a good foundation, if you have some issue working with the project using that certain frameworks, now you are kind of doomed. You have to go back and then do all the foundation learning anyway, isn't it?
That is true, especially in front end, I would say, because
Okay.
many people in the 2010s started with jQuery, not JavaScript, and
Ah,
then that's
right,
where they
yeah.
failed, I would say.
Okay, yeah.
Because if some error comes in and it's not jQuery, then it's on you because you don't know the foundation, right?
True,
Now you need to
true.
go back, dig in what's JavaScript and all that, and that's going to be. And another thing is, front end tools change rapidly. Before there was Angular, then came React, then came Vue. Now there's like Svelte. There's like so many technologies,
Yeah,
right?
true.
And I would say like to say like you keep on sticking to one of the main languages, one of the main libraries, and then get good at foundational stuffs. And one more thing, have a habit of reading articles.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's-
every day, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It's not
Yeah.
very long, but you just keep on like
Reading
learning
articles.
something little bit new.
Yeah. So basically, I have kind of made to all my students at Dented Code. Now we have this checklist what students should be doing every week to make sure that they are becoming one of the top talent. So now part of that checklist, we say they have to read 2 articles a week, because that's where they get to learn a lot what's going on in the industry, right?
Yeah.
And that will give them good habit of learning the documentation.
Yeah.
You know how important is that,
Yeah.
right?
So yeah, I realized like at the start I was also looking into these videos and all this stuff. So that actually made me a bit slower. But once I had like a habit of reading documentation, it was much faster. And then you get to know like how documents are written. Like
True.
you get to like see like quickly like where the actual information is actually.
So you can kind of find the pattern.
Yeah.
And I think that will all, because as a software developer, you need to know how to write documentation as well.
Right.
So if you've been learning a lot of documentation, it will already give you a pattern how to write it.
Yeah, and then you don't need to wait for any videos. Especially like people go into these long 7-hour, 30-hour courses, right? Just go through the documentation. Nowadays, like the documentation is so powerful.
Yeah.
They guide you through all the get started.
True.
They just make you create like a small project, and then from there you can learn that particular tool.
I think like for me, I not really don't enjoy reading. I'm not the person who reads. Even if I have to read some books, I always go with the Audible, buy the audio version. I can read. Yeah, I have that. I don't know, is that Lexia or whatever it calls. But I like to read the book in a form of the audio. But only thing I love to read is a documentation. That's the only thing I read, because if I watch something on how-to video, you have to go through that all the flow that we were making video on that, and then you have to listen that, and then you have to listen the end part, and somewhere in the middle they will give you the main thing that you are looking for, and then during that what happens is that they might use some other terminologies or something adds on that, and this whatever this addition part is spoken by the guy. Now you don't know that. Now just to understand that, now you go watch another video, and then that's how you get into that tutorial hell.
Yes,
right?
yes, definitely.
So I think I think at the beginning it will be hard to follow through the documentation, but if you do few times whenever you use any language or especially packages, nowadays they are all well written documentation. I think it will help them to learn faster, I would say.
Yeah. A good thing I learned is like sometimes you need to, let's say, watch video, but on the side just keep open like the documentation page for that particular utility library or something, and then as you watch the video and then get the information, just verify in the documentation, and then that way you can slowly transition to reading documentation as well.
That's true. And another thing what I like to always tell students is that even if you are using some package for like 100 times before, you know how to use everything. You don't need to look into documentation again. I say still go and look, at least maybe some version is coming. Maybe something is deprecated, something new coming.
Yeah.
So just check one time. Like last time, remember, I don't know if you remember the history about the faker JS, the suddenly it's vanished next day. So yeah, what happened was like there was a guy who was maintaining Faker.js, which was one of the very famous package. And later on, he tried to. I think there's a lot of news what he did, but basically he tried to make the information freely available in the internet. But his approach, his concept was good, but approach was not accepted. That's why I think API was not happy, and then they shut everything down, whatever he was doing, and then vanished next day. So now, okay, so if you try to use that without looking at it, it doesn't work anymore, you know? So yeah, that things happens. Anyway, so I want to come back to one thing on this tech space. So there's a lot of people I talk pretty much every day to day life. So they want to get into the tech space, but they don't really know which one they're going to love in the future. Yeah, let's say, should I do programming career or more admin career in the tech, or low technical skill tech roles in the tech industry? And they always say maybe I might going to make a wrong decision. So in that case, let's say if front end is one of the bucket list, let's say they might be putting front end developer, back end developer, software engineer, or let's say front end developer, data analyst, and things like that. So if they don't know which one they would like it or not, I always say, why don't you reach out to someone who's already working in the industry for 3 to 5 years or 10 years, and then understand their lifestyle and see if that's what you are looking for or not, you know?
Yeah.
So in that perspective, what do you think you can, based on your experience, what's your lifestyle like? What is your day-to-day as a front-end developer like, you know, let's say day in a front-end developer like?
Yep.
Just for the people who are, let's say, want to know what happens as if I become a developer, as a junior developer. So, and you are also involved into the hiring process. Maybe we can talk about that later.
Yep.
So can you give one, maybe some story, scenario, something that help people to decide should they go for front-end developer?
Yeah. So first thing is you need to try. You won't know what you like unless you try, right? Language is basically like there's like so many languages. You just pick one and then go with it. Maybe the safe to be on safe side, pick a popular language and then just go with it. Test it. If you don't like it, or if you don't like the whole concept of programming in your mind, you don't really like it, then maybe it's not for you. Maybe there's some other career in IT that you might be capable of, right? But finding a mentor, definitely it helps a lot. And what I would like to suggest is, as a front-end developer, what I usually do is my day-to-day life. I wake up.
Yeah, I want to hear from wake up first, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, what time usually you wake up?
7:30.
Okay, that's not that bad.
I'm trying. So
Okay, not 9 o'clock, and then just do the clock in on the bed before you open the
no,
webcam.
not really.
Okay.
So what I do is I just wake up and then just go for a short walk, and then after the walk, after my mind is like fully awake, I just read like 1 or 2 articles daily. Right?
Wow,
I
that's
try to
amazing.
keep up, like do something productive in the morning,
Nice.
and basically plan my day.
How do you plan?
So weekly I try to set a goal, like I'll try to achieve this, right? And then I'll try to, I don't set too many goals. I just set like 1 or 2 goals, and I'll try to achieve that goal within that week. Maybe try planning it. If it's not feasible, I'll just skip that goal. I won't worry about it, because
Okay.
you don't want to keep on worrying about your
True,
goals.
and then you stack your to-do list.
Yeah. And that's what I do. And then basically I read the article and then prepare the day, like if there's like any meetings coming up or anything I need to prepare, documentations or all that, or presentations, right? So I go through all that and then basically start my day at 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock, basically have meetings, stand-ups,
In the morning.
communicate well with colleagues, because they are your friend also. So
Yeah, true. They are the one to rescue you when you are in the bog hell. Yeah.
So basically plan out meetings, especially with your managers and leads, because they will actually help you grow in your mindset as well.
True.
Because they are already in that state where they have already passed what you want to be.
True.
And then you just gain that information from them.
True.
And then that's how you start. That's how you, I guess, progress. And and at the end of the day, I'll just do whatever I want. And then just before going to bed, I just plan tomorrow, and then start again.
Okay. How much your mental stress during the work time? 0 to 10. 0 is the easiest. 10 is super stressful. as a front-end developer, what do you
So,
put yourself
um,
in normal day?
in a normal day, I would say 7.
7?
Yeah.
Okay. In best case day? In
Uh,
best days?
I would say 5. So
Okay.
I recently had best day. I finished everything, so I had like a free time to myself because I work from home. So I have free time, like like I can look into the code, what I can do,
True.
yeah. And then on the worst case day,
15?
yeah, especially when the deadlines are coming, then you're very stressed. I would say 11. I would say.
Okay, true, true. So
Yeah.
if something you like challenging, this
Yeah.
is something people can definitely consider.
Yeah.
So talking about the free time freedom, how many days you work from home now?
Um, 5 days a week.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I think
I'm one of the lucky ones. So.
okay. So that means if somebody looking for lifestyle
Mm-hmm.
who wants more freedom, so while you work, maybe you want to be part of the other family member at home. You know, I have seen in especially in our community, we have a couple who have a different, completely different job role, and then they hardly get to see each other because one person goes to work in the daytime, another person comes, and then by then the other partner is already going to work. By the time they come, it's too late and sleep, and they literally have to plan out to meet. And I have seen actually some of my friends as well in the past. I think some people who is like that. I think this career also is best. I think especially programming career nowadays, a lot of remote job happenings. I think it will continue to grow this remote, and because there is a lot of companies support this kind of culture,
Yeah.
I think that is helping in personal level as a person that you can have a better lifestyle, I would say.
Yeah, yeah. Luckily, I feel myself like very lucky because like I get to work like 5 days from home. But like most of the software developers now are working hybrid,
Yeah,
and they get to spend time with the kid, right?
True.
Spend time with their family.
true.
So yeah, work-life balance-wise, it's pretty good. Yes, there is a stress. You need to read, you need to research. There's like meetings.
True.
There's like deadlines.
I think that in every job has that meetings. Every
Yeah.
job have a KPIs, deadlines, right?
Yeah.
But not many job, I would say, offer that kind of flexibility.
So yeah, once you put in that effort of learning tech,
Mm-hmm.
that's I think the highest peak time that you're stressed out, right?
Yeah, true.
Once you get into a job, the job will teach you.
Definitely,
Right.
yeah. So yeah, that's very true because I see with other developer as well as even my own students that like last time I had a conversation with this student and then we were just doing this talking about after they land the job and then we discussing about how much we learn in our training and how much she's actually using in the job. And then, sir, we learned so much, but I only use this much. Well, it depends on company size. If you are working to the small company, you're probably running every part of the software development life cycle. But if you are working to the mid to large company, you are just working on a specific part, right? But having broad knowledge opens up the broad opportunities.
Yes.
So, and then learning broad is definitely going to be stressful. I think if you pass that phase, I think there is a brightness on the other side of the tunnel, they
Yeah.
say.
Yep. So I think you need to learn. You need to have like a broader knowledge. Let's say you are going to a company and you are given like a very minimal task, right? And then you are shifted to another project, and then it demands all of a sudden like this knowledge,
New technology,
right?
and then, yeah.
And then there is no time to learn because you need to deliver. You are
True.
already working previously in the company, and
True.
then what you're going to do, and especially with bugs,
Mm-hmm. True.
it's very hard sometimes finding what's the issue with
Solution.
bugs. Sometimes it's just a semicolon, but
True.
that semicolon can be very hectic.
Oh, well, I always tell this my student, I share with everybody. I started, I think, Node around 2014-15. Yeah. At that time, I was just doing project myself. So my way of learning is basically I implement into the production straight away. Not in terms of the production that goes to the pipeline, but the copy version of the production. That's how I learn all the technology. So I play with the small playground, and anything that I need to do development next, I'll try to implement so that I get first. And because once you learn like a software development principle, everything is same thing, no matter which programming language you use. Principle is same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just now I'm switching the language.
Yeah.
So that will make like most of the thing easier, and just you can focus on the learning. And then I remember I just in the Node back in days that we have to do, I think default.exports or default.export, something like this that was there. And I forgot one S. I couldn't find in the debugging, and the application doesn't work as expected. And I had to literally pull my hair for 2.5 weeks because I was so much like, like what you call imposter syndrome, or what do I call it, that hesitant to ask for it. If I have asked anybody in the community or any, there's a lot of groups or developers, hey guys, I don't know what's going on, can you have a look for me? I could simply ask. But my problem was, what happened if they say I'm coding from already 10 years by then? So what if they find out this was so silly mistake?
Yeah, I think silly mistakes happens a lot. Like even with leads, seniors, everybody makes silly mistakes. But you shouldn't hesitate to ask someone, even if it's like a junior or somebody, because they might know like certain things that you don't, right?
Yeah,
Or
we have,
you might have
as
missed something. Yeah.
some people, we have an ego, so that's very hard to put down. Now I learned that quite late, but I think anybody who is listening, this is very important. You need to put your ego away, because nobody gonna remember what you ask. No matter your level, you can always learn something from junior as well. Sometimes I learn from students here.
One of the things, like if you are like in such conditions like you mentioned, right? I would suggest do a time box. Maybe 1 hour, 2 hour. You just keep on
Yeah,
looking on it.
true.
If that's if time's up,
Then
go and
time to reach
ask
out.
someone. Right?
Yeah, time to reach
And
out your
I'm
coding
sure
buddy.
that they won't mind. Just
True.
say them like, if you are free, right? You can you help me or something like that.
True.
And then I think most of the people are very they're willing to help.
True, and there is now I think pretty much all the solutions are available in the internet at this time. Okay, so when you learn, because as a developer we constantly need to learn, right? So if you remember your early days when you are learning to become a developer, what was your main challenge and how did you overcome those challenges?
So my main challenge was that like the huge the broader aspect of like knowing everything was
Okay.
the challenge. Like I didn't know what to start. So that's why I realized that I wish I had a mentor very soon when I was starting.
Wow,
But the
that's
thing
so
is that I
powerful.
had no connections who worked in software.
True.
So I had to find them. I had to reach out to people. I started going to meetups, and then in work I found a couple of people, right? And there's like a couple of groups in Twitter. There were like groups in Slack as well back at the time, and yeah, basically that's how I started. And then how I reached out to people was that I would copy my code snippet and then send out in the Slack or some
the
channel,
channel,
and then
yeah,
ask
true.
their help, and then they are very willing to help. And then they also tell you that don't share something that has like password and anything. At the beginning, you don't really care about it. You don't know stuff, right, about
True,
security and all that.
true,
So
true.
they are very helpful.
True, true. And because they have already come through that journey, so they know what it feels like. And then somehow we feel obligated to answer them. Yeah, there are some crazy people, we need to be aware of them, but we shouldn't mind them. And then also I remember, like whenever you reach out to anybody for help, we need to understand one thing, that if somebody doesn't get back to you straight away, you shouldn't again have that ego saying, okay, this person is now maybe senior, he doesn't care about junior. It's not like that. You need to respect everybody's time. Maybe he's busy. So we need to understand that, because sometimes in my past that used to happen. So whenever I try to reach out to somebody for asking some help, of course I'm just asking help, I'm not paying for it, right? So I can't expect to get the answer straight away. So I need to respect that person time. And while they get back later, sometimes they don't get back. So again, we need to keep, I think, that so hot head away, and then we can just keep asking other people. And there's nowadays like billion different channels, and then like a community around you can ask. And if you have to go back for your beginning of learning, what would you do things differently so that you land the job faster?
So first thing, I would find a mentor.
Oh,
100%,
okay.
right?
Yeah, I used to say that, like if I had mentor 10 years ago, whatever achievement I have done, I would have done in half of the time, which is I said my 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
And
so
then-
powerful.
Yeah, mentorship is very powerful, and then you get to have more connections when you have a mentor. Like the mentor will guide you through like like different groups and everything, because he knows like a lot of the stuffs already. And
True.
the other thing is like I would start creating, not start creating, I would start experimenting more with what I'm working with, because at the first
True.
I started, we were working with many technologies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's like the experimentation was very limited with the same language or tool.
True.
But I would try to experiment with one tool, and then gradually I would keep on adding more and more, and then that
True.
way I would like know like what's the scope of certain language or certain approach,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the other thing is join a company that's not too big.
Yeah.
Right.
That's maybe I can share something here later on. Yeah, you go on.
So when you join a really big company, what they're going to do is they have like this specific task that they want you to complete, and then you're stuck in this task forever, like this responsibility forever. And you feel like you are not learning more, and then even though you are reading different articles, but you're not getting any chance to implement your knowledge. So working in like small to mid-sized company, they actually are limited in resources, and they want you to work more in different aspects. Yes, it's going to be stressful, but at the end it's going to be worth it.
Yeah, so I want to add on to that. So basically, when I started my work here in Australia as a developer, so I started as a warehouse person. So basically, I created my job there. So that's a different story. Maybe we can cover later in somewhere in my own solo talk. And I created the e-commerce, but in PHP, because somehow the company, the warehouse, they started with the PHP with the freelancer, and then they stopped the project. And then I wanted to build a project before I asked them to give me a developer job, and so that like e-commerce platform actually make some money so that I can ask for transit. And then because I was alone working on that project, and my goal was to make it work, so that means company is not allocating any resources because they don't even are thinking about me as a developer, because I was the warehouse boy. So that means I have to be resourceful. It created so much stress, but at the end, I learned a lot.
Yeah.
Because I got to work in every part of the, from front end to back end to deployment to the payment integration to many, many other aspects.
Yeah, I also did a couple of freelancing, right? So I didn't know anything about servers.
Okay, so I want to shift the question again. What would you do differently if you go back and if you had to start your IT career again?
So first thing, I would get a mentor, right?
Nice.
Mentorship like allows you to like skip so much of the wasteful time, and then try to focus on one single path. You can experiment around a couple of things, but I think having a mentor like that person will teach you like where to go and how to explore things. And yeah, definitely when you're starting out, you will keep on looking all the resources where you spend most of your time. Having a mentor will actually guide you on like how to read documentations, right? What writers or what authors are actually really good with their architectural stuffs, language, programming language, how good explanation in some of the authors give, right?
True.
And the other thing is I would focus on one of the main fundamentals of language, right?
True.
Especially if you're learning, I would say learn the fundamentals at first.
True.
Gradually, as you're learning, and then you add in more libraries or maybe some patterns if you want,
True.
right? And yeah, and maybe when you're doing your programming, you can actually learn about how the deployment works, testing, all the aspects. Maybe doing so can actually make you a full stack, but sometimes people just want to be focused in one particular area. But
Try to explore everything
Yeah.
that you would do in the workplace, right?
Yeah, because you, as a tech person, what you need to know how the whole system is working.
True.
Right. Even though I'm a front-end developer, I need to know like how the backend is working, how the data is sent, how I can send the data, right? How rendering stuffs are working, performance related, because sometimes I feel like the technology is not like fully dependent on, let's say the rendering part is not fully dependent on front end. It could be backend
True. So
involvement
many
as well,
things
server
involves.
side rendering, all that stuff as well,
True.
right?
So you basically saying that start with the fundamentals. That's very important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fundamentals.
Make it stronger and then grow your knowledge on the frameworks and things.
Yes.
Okay. So now, let's say now you already know how industry works, like how to get into the industry, and you have been involved in hiring process in the company as well. So after knowing all this, let's say tomorrow something happen, somebody just testing, let's say time machine. Yeah. So somehow that time machine pull you out of your bed, and then you wake up in some strange country. Let's say they speak English, and it's a still developed country, as a maybe better place than here. Let's say you were sent to there, and now you only have a strong skill is the software development skill. So what I'm trying to say is that if you lose everything that you cannot tell your work experience, you cannot prove that. You know what you know, but you cannot prove anything, right? That means you need to start all over again because you are in a new people, new place. So now, how do you go about every single day, and you have only 30 days to find the job? After that, it's hard for you to survive. So I'm thinking about the perspective of the first time who is looking for the job. They can maybe get some idea. So when who is not already working in the industry, how they plan their journey to job search versus you know everything, but it's that you cannot write that in the resume anymore. You have the skills.
Yeah.
So now what are the every single possible things you would do to find the job faster?
First thing, I would actually start creating projects in GitHub, like as much projects as I can, right? Experiment, not like like pushing like similar kind of stuff, experimenting with different kind of stuff. Like
Yeah, so let's say you know the code, you build the project because
Yeah.
there are students who can build the project. Yeah? Let's say that part is taken care of.
Yeah.
Now,
And the other thing is, I'll create multiple CVs. I would look into like how the standard of CVs are, and especially like one-pager CV.
True.
And then like clean CV with all the experience and all that, and then mention technical terms.
yeah,
Right. How like things are delivered. Right. Set expectations.
Okay.
Right. And basically tell them that when you join a company, what can you offer? A lot of the time I can see in the CVs that they mention the tool, right? But they don't mention what problem they solved.
Oh,
Right. So that's one of the essential part, I believe. And then the get good at fundamentals, and then join meetup groups, right?
Local meetup groups.
Yes. And then the thing is, don't be afraid of rejection, because when you're calling, like some HR calls you and then you get rejected, don't worry about it.
That's just
It's
a part
that
of the process.
you just need to check that if you send a CV, if there's a response or not. If there's no response, there's a problem with your CV.
Nice.
And then you test around, you change your CV, send it. If there's a response, then HR calls you. And then let's say HR rejects you, then there's a problem with how you speak or how you present, right?
True.
And then you iterate basically, and then you cross the HR section, and then you go to the the behavioral section, technical. That's how you basically keep on stepping up your game basically. And
What about the networking?
networking, yes,
Because there's a huge job through the networking,
yes.
right?
So in LinkedIn, you can like click add as many people as you want, but at the end, I think it's very hard to get job just from LinkedIn, because there's like 600 applicants, 100 applicants.
True.
What I think is, go to meetups, because a lot of the jobs that are not already in market, not listed, especially in LinkedIn or Seek Indeed, they are going to be listed there in the meetup. And then if you get to know HRs or some person from the company, it creates a different impact, because like we are all people, and then we all have that social connection. So that takes in place as well. So when you have this kind of connection, when you have this positive attitude, if that person likes you, that person will give you one more chance.
True.
Right?
Because this is like instant feedback. Like if I read through the resume, now I have to call you, and over the phone I need to understand your behavior, and then I need to see how much you are lying, how much you are true. All those are things now instantly in front of you.
Yeah. And especially when you're a junior, the expectation is not too high. Right, but they expect what's your attitude like. Are you learning? Like, are you like a tech guy, or are you like just bluffing stuff?
True.
So they just know by communication. right? Because
True.
they face like this situation every time. And then you just get to need your fundamentals right, and then have a good positive attitude.
True.
And then I think that will take you, like, just having a positive attitude and a good relationship, that will just create more opportunities.
True. Okay, so in the networking, I have seen a lot of people. They go to meetup. Even it happened to me myself when I started joining a lot of meetup early in my career. So when you go to meetup, let's say if you are not with a friend or if you are with a friend, you're kind of alone. Especially the people who is introvert. I used to consider myself as an introvert now. So what can you advise for those people? Like we tell them, you need to go to a meetup. But if you go to the meetup and you stand in the corner and come back home, it's not valuable, is it? So how do
No.
what should we do at this point? What can you advise?
So I have gone to some of the meetups myself, right? So what I did is, like, I just go there, I just sit and listen. And then I try to sit not alone, like sit next to somebody, right? And then that person might speak with you, right?
True.
And
Yeah,
then-
that's
and
half a chance that somebody starts the
yeah,
conversation.
so that's the easy part, right? If somebody comes and talk to you.
True.
And especially HRs might come and talk to you because they are looking for,
The goal to that,
employees,
yeah.
right? And other thing is, like, there's like this session in like most of the meetups where they allow to catch up with each other. Just grab a beer, pizza, and then just stand there with, like, with an expression like you have like an open mind. And then that just creates a positive vibe, like you are like keen to speaking. That helps. And especially with the organizers, just message them, hey, I'm looking for volunteering or not. Maybe they will open
a
up
good
a
idea,
chance to volunteer in the next event, or maybe some opportunity there.
True.
So that way, I think you can, like, make yourself slowly comfortable.
That's very true, because I remember attending, I think very first time, the meetup in Sydney. I don't remember where was it, somewhere in the Rocks area. It was about the Node. I was, I think, 14, 15, I can remember. I went there and I was pretty much like very nervous. I was just there in the crowd and then I come back home. And then I said, what did I really get out of this meetup? Because whatever was saying in the meetup, sometimes it's not always valuable, because maybe it could be the topics is out of your scope or something you're already learning. So there's only, maybe I would say 20 to 30% you can actually get that talk value. Well, it depends. I can't really put the a quantification there, because it depends. But whatever I have been attending, most of the time that has happened. And then I realized that, well, what is the main purpose I'm going there, right? It's not fulfilled, then what do I do? So as you said before, yeah, after joining the meetup, try to sit not in the edge, somewhat in the middle, so that I have two person to start. And then I wouldn't speak, and then they were not speaking as well. And then later on, when we came out, I think there was like a short break after one speaker, and then the pizza time. And then I was just looking for a few people, especially who is standing alone as well. I thought he might be same like me, and then I went there, and then that's why I started striking conversation, saying, hey, is that your first time? That's how I started. And he said, no, it's many times, and it's my first time, and then I'm finding something like really amazing. So what do you do? And then that's where I started conversation,
Yes.
And that was, still I remember the feel, that nervousness I was having,
Yeah. I know this experience as well. So sometimes what happens is people tend to give up so early.
True.
On the first meetup they go, they find themselves so alone, but they don't go to the next meetup.
True.
Just make a habit, right? Make a habit of being in uncomfortable situations, so that
True.
uncomfortable situation becomes comfortable.
True.
Right?
I think
and
so,
then
yeah.
you start opening up. Like maybe in like 2 or 3 meetups you go, I think you start speaking, because the thing is that, especially in Sydney, you get to see same people again and again in the
True.
meetups.
And if you see same people twice, you're gonna feel like naturally more comfortable speaking,
Yeah.
Or just ask questions always. And I think that way, maybe like this is what I think you can do as well. Like, for example, just make a rule yourself. You must attend at least one meetup every week. So that means you force yourself to go there and you sit down. When you sit down alone, you're gonna feel so bored. Maybe your brain will start figuring out how to become more entertained,
Yeah.
And then you maybe automatically, or somebody will approach you, or you'll figure it out, after I start going regularly. I think that's very important meetup. And as you said, of course, opportunities are posted there, and then you get to meet and talk to the hiring people, and opportunity opens there.
Yeah, and then the good thing is like when you go to a meetup and then you get to know the people, in a company, you get to know their culture as well, because they are basically, showing their how they work, like what's their vibe,
True, true.
right? And then basically you get comfortable, and then the scary,
Feeling.
like mindset that you have in your mind,
Yeah.
it goes away slowly.
True, true. Okay, now I want to shift the conversation a little bit about the new trend going on, especially in our era, the AI. Everybody talking about AI nowadays, and there is a good talk, there is a bad talk, there is a misleading talk, especially the early stage of the IT graduates and the people who hasn't started career in tech industry. They have been watching few YouTube videos, some TikTokers saying, especially non-tech people, especially who is not a developer, they usually have tend to saying that, okay, AI gonna replace this job, the AI gonna replace that job, and AI gonna replace the programmer and software developer soon in the future. And that is basically creating negative impact on all the aspiring developers, because they are, if they are listening something from 20 people, they don't really know what is the source. That out of that 20 people, maybe 20 people are not the developer, right?
Right.
So that's why I wanted to know. Hey guys, I have a quick favor to ask. If you're enjoying the show, can you please like, comment, and subscribe the channel? It will help us to spread our message to the broader audience. If you subscribe the channel, that means a lot to me. Thank you. From the developer perspective, what do you think about the AI and about especially replacing the development role in the future, and in your personal opinion, so that they listen more developers' opinion so that they can make a better decision?
Well, in my perspective, AI might replace a role, but it will create another role.
Okay.
Right. So basically, let's say you are a software developer writing code, but you know the underlying technology, how the code works, how the system works, and then let's say the new role is basically AI prompt engineer.
True.
Right. You're just shifting the knowledge to another role. Right.
Yeah, it's a
Just
shifting
making
the
it more
roles.
easier, actually. Right.
True.
And I don't think AI will fully replace all the roles, because there must be someone to guide AI, right?
At
You
least
need-
build AI or
Yeah.
upgrade AI code.
Yeah. And the other thing is like, if AI is inevitable, it cannot be, skipped, then we just need to go with the flow. You learn AI, right?
True.
The part of being some technical person is that you keep on learning stuffs, right?
True.
It's not just language, it's not just tools. Whatever comes in, you learn.
So
right?
that you stay ahead of the industry.
Yes.
So yeah, I read somewhere and I heard about, I think one of the I can't remember his name, from the AI department of the Google. He was saying that actually AI is not replacing the human job. The person who know how to use AI is replacing the human job. That means if you want to stay in the industry, that means you should learn how to use AI as part of your job, so that you are staying ahead.
Yeah.
And then I really like that statement. And yeah, I think definitely we can all leverage the AI and then make our learning speed up faster or make our life easier.
Yeah. I think my perspective, I was also a bit skeptical, like if AI would, replace job and all that. Once I started using AI, because I use AI daily, right?
Yeah.
I tend to find that it's actually making my job easier, right? Because I'm able to guide it through what solutions I need, what approaches I need. Because right now I'm coding in something that's completely different from what I do.
Okay.
Right. So that's actually helping me a lot.
Learning faster.
Yeah, learning faster. It helps you like create path and everything, right? And what AI has also teach me is that I can actually, express myself clearly, like by writing prompts, because we need to be very careful with our prompts.
True.
Right. And then I'm able to express myself more clearly, what's the issue, right, and make it understand more. So gradually I might not be a front-end developer in the future, I might be a AI prompt engineer in the future. But the company who is hiring me, that company is hiring me for the value, not what I just know, right?
True,
It's
true.
just what I'm presenting. If I'm able to like give 20 days of code in like 5 days,
Yeah.
that's better value for the company too.
True.
So it's a win-win situation. So I
True.
think we need to like,
Go with adapt the change and
Right.
then go with the flow. Okay. All right. So, what suggest do you want to give to anybody who want to start their career in software industry? It could be the student. It could be somebody who want to change the career.
I would say explore first if you're interested in the industry. There's like so many things in IT happening, not just coding. There's like business analysts, there's like project managers and everything. It's not just coding is everything in IT industry, right?
Sure.
And other thing is try to go to these meetups. You will feel comfortable. People are very welcoming in IT industry.
True.
And yes, definitely find a mentor. I feel lucky that people in Sydney who come to your place in Dented Code, they're very lucky because they are getting a mentor, right?
True, true.
So in my time, I didn't get a mentor. I had to like research myself, like where's the mentor and all that. I didn't have connections,
True.
right? I think that's the starting ground, and yeah, basically keep on experimenting stuff.
True. So the main motive of starting Dented Code for me was basically the problem I went through to get into the IT industry. I don't want anybody else to go through, So the problem I had back in this still exists. So I just wanted to fill up that gap so that everybody finds a job faster. Because as you said, like I have years of knowledge. If I can give that into some days, then they save the years.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a win-win situation for a student, and also I love to see other people being success, and that's very high satisfaction for me. So that keeps me going on this. And okay, so as an international, let's say, student, any specific advice to the international IT students?
Those who are coming here, I would say spend like a year, doing some like a junior developer work or something, and then do your studies here, and then that will actually help you. But if you're already here, right, start connecting to people, start finding courses online, right? If you don't think that you will learn by yourself online courses and everything, then courses like Dented Code, when you can actually come
or
with
anybody
meet
who
people, right?
feel comfortable.
They can actually help you, guide you, like it's much faster. And then the thing about when you are enrolled in some kind of course, then you need to you feel like you need to be presented in that course, like just like going to university, you need to go there, right?
Go from heart, don't go to finish it, go to learn it.
Yeah, if you're just going to finish it, then just don't go through.
Don't
it,
waste the money and time.
right?
True. That's very true. So you've been sharing quite a lot of valuable information. I hope everybody's getting a lot of value from there. So is there anything I missed to ask you? Do you want to add anything on the top of our conversation that could help our audience?
Yeah. Regarding the interviews, I would like to add a couple of things. So in the interview, I think what you need to do is you need to have like really positive attitude. Learn your fundamentals, right? Fundamentals are very essential. As a junior developer, they're expecting you to know the fundamentals. Prepare your projects in GitHub. Have like some portfolio, right? And always ask a question at the end.
Yeah, that's we discussed about that. Yeah, so like as you said, you were part of the hiring process, and the guy had an amazing interview, but he didn't ask. So what does that mean for the hiring people?
Yeah, so when we're looking to hire some people in our team, right, we're looking for people who is interested in the culture, like what value they are bringing, and also are they interested in us or not, right? So it's just like they can ask like, what's the company culture like, right? What's the training policies like? Like having to know like these little questions like makes us think about like what the person is expecting from us.
Is he really interested or not?
Yeah. And then we also need to be prepared, right? Because like we need to be preparing our team to like grow in a certain ways. So that expectation that somebody gives us, it feels like we also need to provide that same expectation to their level also.
Yeah, that's very, very important. Yeah, you should always ask questions. Just don't ask for asking. Maybe it's do company research before going for the interview, and then find some question around that, and then always ask. At least ask about your career growth and company value and something like this. Even one question can lead to multiple questions in the conversation, and
Yeah.
that is very crucial.
Yeah.
Usually I heard like with the junior interview, people are thinking like an interrogation, instead of conversation.
Yeah. When you're going to the interview, like many people are so scared, but I don't think you need to be very scared, because you're here to give your interview, right? The person on the other table, the other side of the table, is not going to say anything. They're just going to ask you a couple of questions, keep things friendly, right? And if you're not fit for the role, that it just means that you're not fit for the role. Maybe
something is better. Better something is waiting for you, right? Yeah, and then I always advise student, when you go for the interview, if you put this mindset, saying that okay, this interview is my preparation, so that I don't fail the next interview.
Yeah.
Then I think you lift up all the stress. Now you focus on how to become, like you are actually learning to adapt the interview, so that you become better, versus you have, okay, I must do well. So you are automatically putting under the stress.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so how anybody can find you if they want to connect with you?
I'm available on LinkedIn. So my LinkedIn is Abinash Shrestha.
We'll put the text on the video as well, or in the description.
Yeah, happy to help if you need some guidance. Or maybe a coffee catch-up.
Is always welcome. Yeah. Thank you so much, Abinash, for coming. And I always ask guests to ask me any question if they have. If they want to know anything about me, I would like to see if there anything you have that you want to ask me.
I have a question. So, when you're teaching your student your full stack course, right? What do you expect from your students to go to an interview and then perform? How do you expect it?
I expect everybody pass the interview, but well, that all depends on them. So my expectation is that, or my responsibility is that, when they go interview, or they should be ready technically, practically for interview, as well as the when they go to the work, they should be able to contribute from day one.
Yeah. One more question to that. So, from your perspective, when somebody is from your place is going to an interview, right? Specifically, like what part of the interview they should really focus on? Like, like technical part is there, right? But like on top of it, what thing do you expect from it?
Can I stress enough the communication skills? What I tell my students is that no matter how well fit you are for the company, if you don't tell me how much you know, the way I want to hear, not the way you know, right? Then what I'm going to think?
Yeah.
You don't know it, right? So you need to build the communication skill. You don't have to have a perfect speaking. Speaking is one thing. Speaking skill, that maybe like for me, I have very thick accent. A lot of international students, they have an accent. But how well can you speak out, or how well can you communicate the technology?
Yeah.
I think that's, I can't stress enough on that.
So to add to this, I have a tip. So when you're in a pair programming interview, or somebody's looking at your screen, right? As you're coding, just try to explain them what you're trying to do. Even though you're not going in the right direction, just think as a developer how you're explaining. The other side of the interview will know that how you think, and then it's not just about the solution. It's like how you think, how you approach stuff.
True.
Recently we did an interview where the answer was like not 100% correct, but the approach was 100% right.
So you hire them.
Yes.
Yeah. This is what I always tell as well, because what happens is that usually in the, like, let's say whiteboard challenge or the screen challenge, how do we know as a hiring company that you haven't done that practice already in LeetCode or somewhere, right? But you can just come there and do the answer.
Yeah.
But we are not looking for just the answer. What if it was something like you have practiced 10 times and something new problem comes, then you can solve it. But what you want to see is that, what is your thought process?
Yeah.
how you think the problem, how you divide the problem into the smaller task, and then how you go and solve that, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's very important to bring out. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very important. I think I answered your question, I hope.
Yeah.
Did I pass the interview?
Yes. All tick mark from my side.
Okay. Thank you so much, Abinash, for coming. And as usual, guys, if you want to reach out Abinash, you can. I'll put the link in description. You should have seen in the screen or in the description. Reach out to him if you need any help from there. And then again, thank you so much, Abinash, for coming. And I'll love to talk to you more in the future.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey guys, thank you so much for staying all the way to the end. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you do, please write in the comment section what did you enjoy it. And if you have any comment, if you have any suggestion, open to hear from you. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe so that you don't miss out all the future episodes. I'll see you next.